Hey y'all. So I got a little bit of a late start here thanks to today was my ninth day in a row working at my day job at Jenny Craig, and I got stuck on the phones. I don't mean that in a complaint way, but just before I was about to leave at 2:30, the phones ramped up and I stayed over and got a little overtime, so I stayed till 3, and then traffic. And then I had to take a shower, I was sweaty, and of course Facebook's being kind of a pain setting this up. So that said, I'm going to get right into this. I'm going to read, some of these reads are going to be a little short, because I'm really excited to read at least several extra pages of Mama Fang's, hey Julie, Mama Fang's Blue Moon book, which I pre-ordered and is going to be available middle of March. If anybody knows the exact, hey Julie, if anybody knows the exact date of the release, I forgot what it is, but it's March something. So someone could share the link and remind everyone about the pre-order for it, because it's a great series. It's book 7 of a best-selling award-winning series, Full Moon by Mama Fang, P. Mattern herself. So that said, I'm saving the best for last. And it's my son's first day back to school, so I'm going to pick him up a little early. So that said, I'm going to get started without too much ado. Oh, come on, laptop. I hate my laptop. I mean, it's a gift and it's a great laptop, but it does some things I don't like. Okay, so real quick, this is Viktor that I'm reading from. It's my work in progress. Now, some of you know Mama Fang wrote the Vampire Princess series, which is another award-winning best-selling series. And book 3, Vampire Empress, came out last year and ended the trilogy. It's the conclusion. And I suggested a long time ago to Mama Fang that Viktor is one of the most complex evil villains in a book that I've ever read. And he deserves his own prequel, because people would love to read about the bad guy. I guarantee you, if they made a Darth Maul movie, people would watch it. If people made a Palpatine movie, they'd probably watch it. If people made a Khan movie, which they have, but if they made a series of books about Khan, written by Greg Cox, I read the hell out of it. So that said, I told Mama Fang that Viktor should have a book. And she said, okay, then you write it. And I thought she was kidding. I really did. But she was serious, and I have gotten about 100 pages in as of today. I've been taken up, and the book has taken some really good directions, I think. It went from just a sinister guy doing all kinds of evil stuff to outright horror in some parts, I think. And I think it's been pretty creepy. My proofreader, Pamela Pulsifer Swan, has liked it. She said it's been my best work yet, so hopefully it will be. But that said, I'm going to dive right in, and here goes chapter 3. Helena's cry, even as soft as it was, echoed after him mournfully. She had been devoted, given herself wholly to him, and the plaintive noise that escaped her ruined mouth was plaintive. See, I need to do that error. This is why it's the first draft, because I said plaintive twice in one sentence, a paragraph. And yet poignant, nearly a requiem to their ill-fated romance. He did not shed a tear, nor harbor regret. He also did not begrudge her the hatred she would feel for him, and should she survive and seek revenge, he would not condemn her for it. Hey, Mama Fang! As the world spun around, he tended to return the actions one took upon himself. And it was only natural that should a man spit into the sky that it falls back down upon him at times. His first step off the bridge was onto a well-hewn dirt path. Much of the nearby forest had been cleared, leaving any would-be invaders out in the open and exposed with no cover. He needed to make haste, as he had eschewed armor for the sake of speed, and he did not fancy the notion of falling under a barrage of arrows. He devised a plan of escape, but this one segment of it hinged largely on his quickness and luck, the latter being a notoriously fickle mistress. Don't have my retainer on. Hey, Lynn. As he glided swiftly away from the castle, his left hand reached into the black shirt beneath his tunic. He pulled out a small but exquisite ruby. Despite the conspicuous absence of moonlight, the ruby glowed as if shining in the sun. This brilliant gemstone had been his objective, the sole reason for his artifice in infiltrating the castle. Viktor had been provided rather elegant garb by his patron, and with it he had been able to stroll by the guard towers and inside with little notice, bathed in a sublime conceit. He had even walked by a number of uncouth men and women inside Knight's Hall, where the great lord himself, John Hunyadi, had dined, before falling victim to the plague. He had boorishly reached down between a pair of young men and filched a slice of bread and meat. Ooh, there's a typo. Whoops. Let's see, 1 second. Okay. Slice of Filched a slice of bread and meat. Sorry, guys. They had gazed at him with contempt, but Viktor had pointed towards the unmanly way in which they ate pretentiously with forks, scoffing at the effrontery of employing such effeminate finery. Sorry, guys. This again, first draft, so I'm fixing some things as I go along. By the way, using a fork back in the day was considered to be really uncouth. You know, nowadays if you don't use a fork, you use your fingers, you're a pig. But back then, it was considered you're being a dandy, basically. Ignored as much as ignoring the men and women, he moved over to a tapestry that draped a large portion of the wall. Let's see, one second. Draped over a large portion of the wall. He had stopped to stare at it, a replication of man's expulsion from paradise. Without so much as turning to see if noticed, he had slipped to an antechamber and pocketed the unguarded ruby. He had taken the sword as well as more of an afterthought, reasoning, why not? Returning to the moment, he noted that both men and dogs had disgorged from the castle, his theft discovered. Hey, Sherry. Viktor had suspected that before he had gone too far, a casual search of the room would reveal the theft. It had been a rare miscalculation in thinking that it forced him to sacrifice Helena. Viktor was a handsome man, but he believed that his dark hair, olive skin, traits of his Romani heritage, and actually I'm going to change that because it should be alabaster skin because I changed it, would distinguish him and draw too much attention. Thus he felt he needed a distraction, and Helena's beauty had served the purpose. Eyes of both man and woman had been struck by her patrician beauty. Her high cheekbones and graceful movements making Viktor indistinct. One second here. Distinct. No one even noticing him as he pilfered two valuable artifacts. Hey, Amanda! His air was in leaving hand in hand with her. It was a vanity for these fools to see him, a man of low-born origins, to have such a prize by his side. It had brought suspicions upon his presence and rapid exit. Thus he had brought death upon her. Okay, and there's a chapter break there. One second. So I'm going to go and wrap that up there. Again, this is Viktor. Again, it's a first draft. So as I was going through, I was fixing a few things I thought needed to sound better. Okay, so next one is by my friend CB. One second here. I've not read this one before. CB Gabriel. And it's called Trey and Kate, a novel. And I show you the cover. This is actually, I don't know why it tells me it's the preview of a paperback. Like, I care which version it is. It's not like I'm not going to still be able to read it. Oh, whatever. Let's type it back in. Let's just wait for it to load. While I'm here, just kind of a reminder, if you are an author and want me to read from your book, just let me know. If I've read from your book before and haven't read from it in a while, even if it's been just 3-4 days, you're welcome to ask me to do it again, because sometimes I do forget. I have a lot of books on my list, and sometimes I just kind of don't get it done. Hey, Ray. Let's see. I'm trying to get this to load. It's still taking forever. Let's see. Here we go. Well, let's forward. Getting a lot of hourglass in here. It's probably just a bad connection. Okay. So, yeah, wow, it's already 4:38. I should be leaving to pick up my kid, but I'm going to be picking up, I don't have to pick him up till 6, so. Sorry, I'm just waiting for this, in case you're wondering why I'm not reading this. Okay. So, let's see, this goes to chapter 2. So I'm going to go and start at chapter 2 because I don't see 1. I think it's just the way the preview worked. Starbucks Coffee Company, Kingston, Ontario, November 2008. As I wait in line for my second coffee in this bustling cafe, all I'm thinking about is that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Just by the way, there is some language in this one, and that's often there's language in a lot of the books I read, so nothing new there. Just like always, the noon rush has packed both the till and bar, and everybody is in a hurry trying to fuel up. The drab, depressing floors are smothered in muddy footprints, and there is no seating space. I like to believe that I'm a little less pretentious than these other university girls, with their Ugg boots and daddy's money, waiting in line for their sugar-free vanilla non-fat lattes. But here I stand, money paid, willingly feeding the self-indulgent monster that is Americanized consumerism. Right on, Boston, San Diego here. Hey, Eve, how's it going, my friend? 6 months ago, just before I broke up with my fiance, Ryan, I got addicted to Starbucks. Ew, who gets addicted to Starbucks? I'm just sorry, I can burn my own coffee. Just kidding, I'm just talking smack. Tim Hortons couldn't provide the buzz I needed anymore. Never tried them. Now I hate to admit it, but this damn good crack has helped me get through my last year at Queens, even though I mentally checked out months ago. I can understand that. I just want my degree now. Hell, I even stopped wearing makeup and my once perfectly done, highlighted blonde hair is limp and greasy. It seems like ever since I broke off the engagement, I don't have the energy to do all the work it takes to be attractive to men. So sweatpants and oversized hoodies it is. Hey, sweatpants are attractive. Sugar-free vanilla non-fat latte ready at the bar, calls the overly chipper barista. Starbucks loves to hire people like that. I grab my drink without uttering a word of thanks to the barista and prepare to face the real world again. Just as I turn to grab my lid, a tall employee comes out of the back. I figured he must have just finished stocking food or checking the washrooms. Poor thing. I think he seems pretty disgruntled. Not your typical vacant robot. Why haven't I noticed him before? When he comes a bit closer, the hairs on my arm stand straight up and an icy shiver runs down my back. I consider going up to him until I remember that my ex killed my desire to date. He probably wouldn't be interested anyway. Okay, and that's the sample of it. So I'm going to see if I can get CB to send me a chapter or something so I can read more of it, because I was just starting to get into it. It ends. This is a great book. Great story. She's got some great storytelling in this, so I'm really happy about that. Okay, so I'm looking forward to reading that. Hopefully she'll be able to send me something. This next one is by Ashley Grant, and it's called Lament of Midnight. Another one I have never read before. Oh, someone's at the door. Give me 1 second, okay? Oh. Okay, I'll check it out later. Sorry, someone just delivering some mail, but I need to answer it. Okay, so here we go with Ashley Grant, Lament of Midnight. I've not read this before, but let's go and get started. Look at the front page. I love this. It looks scary. And she warned me that this was horror, or I think she said it's horror, and I was like, really? Like I care? I don't mean that in a criticizing way. I mean, my last book was called Praying Moon, and it's about werewolves. So go figure if I care if something's got horror in it. And Mama Fang's my favorite author, and she writes horror. So, oh, wow, you got to see this. This is awesome. Oh, wow. I don't think anyone's going to want to exercise in that machine again, though sex wouldn't be out of the question. Yeah, I said that out loud. No filter. Today's my Friday. And you know what Friday is for me? Unfiltered. I just worked 9 days in a row and I got the next 2 days off. So you can better believe this is my day to be crude. Okay, so let's go ahead and start reading. And Poor Dolly, Chapter 1. Okay, and again, I know zero about this book. I just know that Ashley Grant's supposed to be a pretty good writer. And I'm sure she is. And come on, camera. I hate this new case on my phone. I mean, it's good, but it's not good. Poor Dolly. It's dusty up here on the shelf. A thick layer of grime covers everything, including myself. It wasn't always this bad. Years ago, my parents would clean this space, then put me back up here. They had not bothered with this simple action for years. I try to keep my thoughts organized. I try to save myself from the madness that has consumed my small family. I blame the ever-encroaching darkness that has invaded our house. I hear the fights coming from the kitchen every night. The single ceiling lamp casting a curse on our small, once happy home. I remember the sign on the bin I was held in only a few other toys. We had a large sign marked in red hanging above us that said, "Bargain, reduced price." I don't know how long I was in that bin. How many days or months? Only by the time Mommy and Daddy found me in the back, covered in dust, dozens had walked past, and I was one of the last 2 dolls left. I cried with joy as I was carried out, and the automatic door stood open to a world I'd never seen. To this day, I don't know if the other doll left. I try not to think of the worst. There was a rumor that dolls without homes get destroyed. I scarcely recalled the other doll now, only that she had light barrel button eyes. They knew I was different when they found me. I wasn't like the others. My left leg was already losing some of its stuffing, but Daddy fell in love with me. Mommy liked my cheap price. The bright half-off tag showed clearly on my arm. My original dress was white with orange flowers on it that matched my hair. I do remember that. The lace was torn on it, and Mommy was appalled. When they took me home, Daddy made me a new white dress with a pretty blue ribbon belt. It was yellow when it was lost. That had to be over a decade ago. Those old memories of mine are hard for me to bring up. It's easier for me to remember Mommy and Daddy's friends and their relatives. Why would they pick me? Don't I require so much work? I'm already broken and need too much time. These were common questions in our house. Daddy would stop them all. He'd pick me up and say I was the smartest one. I was so much more than their dolls and bears were, and if they couldn't see that, then they could leave. He'd bring me to my room and tuck me into my pink and white daybed, singing me to sleep. His voice was always enchanting, lulling me into my dreams with ease every night. Mommy would call that spoiling. I never understood why, but Mommy always got mad at Daddy when Daddy was with me. The way he'd tuck my hair behind my ear or spin me around in his arms set her off. I tried to be nice to Mommy. I wanted to play with her, but Mommy was always away, even more than Daddy sometimes. When I was first brought home, I used to stay with a lot of people. I can't remember their names. Some of Mommy's people were nice and put my hair up in pigtails. Others would throw me on the ground and walk away, ignoring me until Mommy came home again. All the other toys laughed when I told them this at school. I was never believed. My dress was too pretty. My leg had been resewn by that time. Even the teacher started to say I was lying when I was in class. Some mommies and daddies have to work all the time. Not all can stay home, I would be reminded. Slowly I noticed a shadow forming in our small house. My parents stayed away longer and longer. They started fighting when they came home. I'd stare at them from the minuscule hallway, their loud voices growing each week. 1 second, my throat's getting a little dry here. I'm waiting to see what happens. This is a good story, I love it. The shadow came closer into the house, creeping. I'd curl my entire body up to keep away from it, inching ever closer from the back door. It seemed I was the only one who noticed this new intruder. I tried to warn Daddy, but he pushed me away and started arguing with Mommy again. Then one day when I came home from school, I went to my room and found it empty. All of my toys and clothes had been tossed out. The light blue color had been repainted white, and a work desk stood where my bed was supposed to be. We need this room for work, Daddy stated. Mommy picked me up and placed me on the shelf in the living room. Tears fell from my green button eyes, but they didn't notice me crying. They didn't even turn around. By that night, the shadow had taken over all of the kitchen and the hallway. I shivered in fear. The closer it came within the house, the colder the air would get. The shelf was hard, and far away I couldn't see Mommy and Daddy fight in the kitchen anymore, but I could still hear them. Mommy would shout at Daddy, and he would throw plates at the wall. Well, he can always buy new plates. Just kidding. It was almost every night that they would scream at each other. They started to forget about me. My dress yellowed at the fringes, my blue ribbon fell off. Slowly my appearance deteriorated more. No one noticed except to criticize. Every day I would hear the same comments. I was a freak, different, insane, and a liar. My dress was now black, a color that I had grown to love, even while it resembled the monstrous shadow dwelling in my house. Some days I wished it would destroy me the way it was destroying my Mommy and Daddy, especially Mommy. There were times years before that she used to be somewhat fun and take me places. It seemed like now she only looked to criticize me and harass me. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one because I do have to pick up my son soon, but I will hopefully pick this up tomorrow or the next day. So this was Ashley Grant. So that was I just finished page 5. Okay, so I can remember where I left off. Let me show you the cover again. Oh, come on, computer, scroll up. Hey, Heather. Let me show you the cover. That's bloody. Cool cover. Heather, I need to read from your book again. I can't remember the title off the top of my head, but it was really good. I liked reading it. I'll have to read that again. Hey, Sydney. How's it going, my friend? Okay, and so the next one is going to be by Sasha Beth James. Let me get back to her. Barton, yeah, I can't do it today, but I would love to. Would tomorrow work? Because I'm off tomorrow and I have plenty of time. The only thing I have to do tomorrow is get a flu shot. Yikes. But yeah, Barton, if that'd be okay, I can read from it tomorrow. I just need to, because I have to pick up my son very soon, and I've got a few more books to read today. If I do a live read tonight, I will, but if not, let me know if tomorrow's okay. Perfect. Okay, we'll talk about it. Definitely. Absolutely. No question. Okay, and this book is called When Angels Mourn by Sarah Beth James. And if I remember this one, I don't think the cover is here. So let me see if I can pull it up on Amazon so you can see it. Okay, so this is When Angels Mourn by my good friend Sarah Beth James. And she actually is in the UK. And I think she's at work right now, so I don't think she's going to be tuning in right now. But I always send her the link. And I just read from this a little bit the other day. So let's see, hopefully, sometimes Kindle doesn't always remember where I left off, or it tries to put me back a few pages. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to pick up where I left off best I can. Yeah, it's a really good cover. Not that I was evil, far from it. All angels were guardians in one form or another, yet not all guardians were angels. There are many demons who also wore the responsibility of being a caretaker in this world. Balance had to be maintained. I had no doubt there were more than a few angels who played for the wrong team as well. Yin and yang. You have to balance your light with dark. Otherwise, there is no light. I feared that we were growing too close, for all that we tried to hide it from everyone around us. The unity, as the demon/angel high council were termed, decided that they had to act. Break us up forever. They were not allowed to kill. That would also ruin the balance of nature. It didn't stop them faking a death, however, so when Alyssa woke, she was treated to seeing me killed. Mad with grief, Alyssa had been locked away in a tower where I couldn't reach her. I tried over and over again. I was caught, my wings clipped and thrown into a dungeon. Weeks passed before there appeared enough for me to escape to look for my love again. When I eventually found my freedom, it was only to discover that I was too late. Alyssa had found a way to fall from heaven to earth, hide away from unity. For so long, I had been just one step behind her, starting to despair that I would never see my heart's desire again. The fact that I had was by sheer chance, luck, and fate, perhaps. Almost like it was the intended will of God, or a God. Not that anyone upstairs would help me, a filthy demon. That would be unheard of. I was drained, racing my Harley over 200 for more miles than I could count, trying to follow her scent before it faded too much. Even angels and demons needed rest in the end, even if it was a lot less often than a human would. I was discovering that the hard way. As I came across the bluff into town, my eyes started to flicker closed. I blinked the sleep away a few times before the exhaustion hit even harder into my old bones. I might look barely 22, but in fact I'm thousands of years older. Since her loss, I hadn't managed more than a few moments' rest. The more I fought against the tiredness, the stronger it grew. The bike skidded twice, forcing my eyes back open before moments later closing again. The bike slipped, crashing into a fence, leaving me hitting the asphalt hard. Cursing the scratches on my custom paintwork as well as the bald patches on the back of my leather jacket. I decided that fate, or whatever, had won. For tonight, at least. When dawn arrived, I could start again. For now, I wheeled the bike towards a nearby bar. A few hours' rest wouldn't hurt too much. The scent was still strong enough that I would be able to trace it in the morning. Breezing into the bar, I ordered 2 beers, draining one before taking the other out with me to explore the dance floor. The place was in full swing, a grungy rock band playing in the background, the dance floor covered in swaying bodies. The heat of the sexual tension around me was boosting my energy. Sipping from the bottle, I drew strength from the crowd slowly, so I wouldn't be noticed if another demon was near. Okay, so I do got to move on to the next one. Again, that was When Angels Mourn by Beth James. I will read from that again very soon. She's a good friend of mine. Let me show the cover one more time. And the next one is by one of my favorite authors of all time. She's a local author. Well, she's from Minnesota, but she lives in San Diego now. Her name is Beth Hodgson. And let me show you that book. And this is called Fragments of Light. And this cover is breathtaking. I have to say, breathtaking does not begin to describe how awesome this cover is. So let me show you this. And her next book is on its way, hopefully sooner rather than later, because she is an incredible writer. Hey, Jill. And this is called Fragments of Light. And this cover is just so amazing. And I put it this way, I own the paperback and the Kindle because I wanted it. Okay, so location 2069, gotta remember that. Let me show you the cover. I mean, look at this cover. This is just, wow. This looks almost like a hologram. I mean, one of those cards with the holograms where you turn it and it flickers. I mean, this is really well drawn. And it's funny because this looks like a Cylon warrior kind of too, in a sense. And that's, in case you're wondering if it looks like Billy Idol, there's a reason. She kind of inspired it by him. And she actually showed Billy Idol the cover. And he thought it was cool. Yes, I've talked to Beth about this before. Because I used to sing in a Billy Idol tribute band a long time ago as a frontman. But we didn't last long. So, yeah, it's a great cover. And this is a great, it's a combination of steampunk, magic, cyberpunk, science fiction. I mean, this is one of my favorite books. And I am surprised it has not won awards. If it hasn't, it will. It's just a really, really cool book. Okay, and again, just warning you, this one does have a few curse words. I know because I've already read through it once. Damn it, he cursed under his breath. I hope I don't fucking regret this. After a moment, he reached for another cigarette and lit it. He swung his body back in the direction of the woman, the stream of smoke trailing behind him. Really? Really? I am fine. The woman stuttered as her face leaned away from the tattooed man. I'm waiting for someone. He should be here any minute. Kyle and the tattooed man both knew that she was lying. Where is he? His gruff voice asked, calling out her bullshit. Why would he leave you by yourself? You know what? I made a deal. Remember, if my book reaches #1 on any of the bestseller things, I will karaoke Rebel Yell. I don't like White Wedding that much. That's one of the few songs of his that I wasn't too wild about. But Rebel Yell I could do. I don't know if I still can, but I did it in my 20s. So when my next book comes out, if one of my books makes it to the bestseller list, even makes it in the top 5 like Praying Moon did, I will do it. I'll just have to find a way to do it. Either karaoke in a bar or just do it here through YouTube or something. We'll see. But not today. My voice is still kind of hoarse. But I will do it. We'll work it out. His face got in hers, and he rested a hand on her shoulder. Sydney, I don't know if he's still in here. He plays piano for the church I went to, and he's heard me sing in choir. Though I don't know if he's ever heard me do a solo, but I've done a few, but not for a while. And he rested a hand on her shoulder. Her eyes flinched in disgust. Continuing to puff smoke from his mouth, Kyle interrupted. He is here. Fucking take a hike. Again, part of my French. He said sharply, getting in between the woman and the tattooed man. Kyle puffed a cigarette between his lips, exhaling in the man's face. Oh, God, I do not miss smoking. I had a heart attack from smoking when I was 33. Smoking was the biggest contributor. Just saying. The man flashed an immediate glare at Kyle, making no other movement than a snarl of his lips. Kyle's eyes trailed to the woman, her face pleading silently at him in fear, her lower lip quivering. Fucking asshole, the man roared in Kyle's face, yanking the cigarette from his mouth and flinging it. Reaching for his pocket knife, Kyle flipped it open, then swung it in the tattoo man's face, lodging it into the bar in front of him. Get lost, shithead, Kyle said. The tattoo man jumped up, hurling a bar stool to the ground. Ooh, that'll teach him. The moment he jumped, why do tough guys always do stupid shit? And she's nailing it, because that's what bullies do. They can't win a fight, so they do something stupid like break a window or something. Hurling a bar stool to the ground. The moment he jumped up, the red-headed woman edged back to the bar area, hiding in the shadows of the blue lights. The people by the bar instantly began to cheer for another fight. Hey, Beth, guess whose book I'm reading?
yours. You want to know it has two thumbs and is reading it? Can't help it. This guy, all right, do it this way. This guy showing the guns. Yes, I know I'm a jackass, but it's Unfiltered Friday for me because I'm off the next couple days, like I said. The tattooed man swung at Kyle, aiming for his chest. Luckily, Kyle was smaller than the guy and dodged, quickly landing a solid punch in the man's gut. No, you don't go for the gut. You go right for the Adam's apple. Trust me. Well, I'm not going to get into dirty fighting, but he was unmoved by Kyle's punch. He'd clearly been in many bar and fights before. See, that's why I go for the throat. The man sneered, then swung back at Kyle. That's all you got? Kyle dodged the blow, but he wasn't quick enough. The tattooed man bashed the side of his nose, and a hot shock of pain shot through him, vibrating into his face, causing Kyle to tumble to the ground. He could taste a bit of blood running down his nose and into his mouth. His nose wasn't broken, but it would have been had he not moved. Snarling, Kyle wiped his bloody nose and lips and jumped onto his feet. The man was about to swing again, but missed as Kyle rolled to dodge the man. Turning swiftly, Kyle landed a hard punch squarely below the man's chest. Now that's good, but right here, solar plexus. Ooh, that will take the air out. Caused the man to gasp for air. His eyes bulged out as he tumbled to the ground. Hey! Yelled the bartender. We don't want any shit back by the bar. Take it outside. One of the neighbors was looked outside and just looked in. They're probably used to it from me. He walked off. A few bouncers came, yanking Kyle away from the man before he could strike again. You're dead, man, shouted the tattooed man, still gasping for breath. He violently pushed the bouncers, all the while swinging wildly to get to Kyle. It was a good thing there were more of them and only one of him. Good luck, asshole, Kyle shot back, spitting a gob of blood and phlegm at the man. Nice. His nose burning, a surge of adrenaline ran through his veins, overwhelming him with the urge to fight the bouncers and kick the man's ass. Swallowing his pride, he tried to remain calm, not wanting to get kicked out of the place. Remy would never forgive him if disorderly conduct got banned from playing at that club. It took 4 men to hold the tattooed man back, and he screamed obscenities as they pulled him away from the bar. Kyle watched him disappear into the crowd, knowing that the man would be thrown out into the street. Others were explaining to the bouncers what happened. Breathing heavily from the rush of the fight, Kyle waited to be released. When they finally let him go, he nodded to them in thanks and wiped the sweat off his brow and shook his open black leather vest in a sharp jerk, trying to cool off his sweat-soaked body. Eyes were still on him, and he used that to his advantage. With the eyes of the bartender on him, he flagged him over, the silver from the studs on his leather bracelets catching the neon blue light. The crowd resumed their conversations and drinks. The band on stage started the first number. Yeah? The bartender asked, his voice gruff. He lit another cigarette, looking in the red-headed girl's direction. She still hadn't moved from the corner, but her eyes were locked on him. 2 shots of whiskey, Kyle said to the bartender. The bartender looked at him for a moment, then eyed the red-headed woman in the corner. Kyle motioned his head at the woman. Think that's her poison? The bartender bared all his crooked teeth in a rotten smile, laughing hoarsely. Not a chance in hell. Yeah, I didn't think so, Kyle mumbled, burning the cherry of his cigarette as he inhaled. Get her one anyways. The bartender returned with 2 glasses in his hands. He slammed down both in front of Kyle, then poured the liquor in the shot glasses, spilling it onto the counter. Kyle didn't move except to jerk his head at the woman, gesturing for her to come up to him. Slowly retreating from the corner, she eyed him curiously with bright green eyes. Here, I think you need this, he offered, sliding one of the glasses toward her. Without saying a word, she nodded. Raising the shot glass, he waited for her to do likewise. After a moment, she caught on, raising the glass to match his. Then they both downed the whiskey at the same time, and he slammed his glass against the counter. She squeezed her eyes shut tightly, setting the glass down gently. Hey, Liz. I'm reading your friend's book. Our friend's, Beth's. Amused, he chuckled, knowing that the alcohol was much too strong for her. But for what it was worth... Oh, by the way, since Liz is here, I have a reminder that Liz's book, it says Liz Holmes, but it was Liz Steinworth, Asunder, which is an amazing book that you should read. Liz, since you're on here, if you're still on here, please make sure to share the link to your book. I know people would want to see it. Actually... Oh, I did have it lying here, but I think I put it somewhere else. Sorry, I was going to show you the paperback because I own the paperback. I did buy it. Sorry, Liz, I'm a schnook. It's not in the room anymore. I think I put it back in the thing so I could, because I was cleaning house. But read Liz's book. Liz L. Steinworth's book, Asunder, is amazing. Anyways, for what it was worth, he could tell she was trying not to show it, and she appeared able to hold her composure. Yeah, I put signs up there. I've been doing this for about a year. I put signs up that either talk smack about one of the characters in the books I'm reading or promotes some author. A lot of time, Mama Fang, Patricia Nette's characters like Viktor get a lot of trash talked about him. But it's been a while since I've changed that sign because I'm a big fan of Liz Holmes's book. I did one for Beth Hodgson once too, I think. Thanks, she said after she cleared her throat, tears in her eyes from the burning alcohol. Hopefully it'll make your night a little less shitty, Kyle said, inhaling from his cigarette. The woman smiled at him. I meant getting that man away from me, but I suppose it can mean the drink, too. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up for now for that one. And now the moment that I know we've all been waiting for. Mama Fang, as I've mentioned so many times, is probably my favorite indie author. Her and I would say Nelson DeMille are my two favorite authors of all time. This series, I think, is one of the ones that definitely put Mama Fang on the map. It's called the Full Moon series. I have book 1, and I just pre-ordered book 7, which is called Blue Moon, which is coming out, I think, March 20th. Mama Fang, please let me know. Share the link to the pre-order, please. But it was for pre-order today, and I ordered it. And she was nice enough to send me a preview of it so I could, because I wanted to read some of it. And so I'm going to read from chapter 1, Pillow Talk. Let me see if I don't know if I can, hold on a second. Full Moon, Blue Moon. Let's see if I can get a cover to see on Amazon. Mattern. I don't know how good Amazon, here we go. My search engine skills are sublime. And it's by L. Gauthier MP Mattern. Sorry, Lynn. Lynn Legaki Gauthier also co-wrote this. So let's go check this out. So I have only read parts of book 1, which I own. I have not read any of the rest of the series, but I do plan to. But I buy so many Kindle books, I'm going to be broke if I don't stop. So, but this one, I ordered it on my Amazon card, so I don't have to worry about paying for it right off the bat. What can I say? I'm so like that. Chapter 1, Pillow Talk. Cass entered the cottage he shared with a portion of his increasingly large family and was stunned to see his wife Mitzi sitting on one of the overstuffed damask couches staring off into space. It wasn't that she didn't deserve a rest, but he couldn't recall the last time she actually sat still. I did not mean to say shat. I'm sorry, guys. That was not intentional. Sat still. She was usually hyper and cheerful, going from task to task and always busy tending to her tribe or helping others. Immediately, he rushed to her side. Mitzi, my love, are you okay? He asked, sliding down beside her. You look unusually preoccupied. She snapped to attention and looked at him imploringly. Oh, Cass, why do vampire children have to grow up so fast? Liam is almost a man now, and Absalom is a man. It's not fair. She leaned toward him, speaking in a why can't I say that word? Conspiratorial tone, even though they were the only ones in the house. I got up earlier than usual and happened to go past his room that he shares with Natalie. I thought that I heard odd noises, like someone might be in pain. Well, I was hearing them having S-E-X. I think he's talking about sex, but don't quote me. At least I'm pretty sure that's what they were doing. And Absalom sounded like a wild animal. And she was moaning, and now I can't get what I overheard out of my head. Thanks, Mom Fang. No mother should ever hear their offspring making love. It just sounds so wrong. Obviously, you've never watched porn. Whoops! Cass tried to carefully arrange his features so that he looked sympathetic and concerned, and failed completely, throwing back his head and laughing uproariously as Mitzi stared at him in shock. Though he would never confess it to Mitzi, he was kind of proud of Absalom. Yeah, his son's a stud. Seemed like he was an alpha stud like his old man. Hey, I called it! I hadn't even read that part yet. I'm sorry, Mitzi, he said between gasps. I can't imagine what you must be gone through. But they are grown. What do you think they did alone in their bedroom? Color? Play board games? You catch on fast, Rob. Libidos are inherited, by the way. I expect all our sons will be studs. He continued winking at her. Well, I'm just going to say, I'm one of 4 brothers, and I'm the only one that has sons. So my other 2 brothers that have kids both have girls. So if you want to ask which one of the 3 of us is the most manly, at least that's what I'm saying right now, because they aren't here to argue. Anyways, Mitzi covered her ears, saying, "La, la, la, Cass, you just made it worse." "Well," he said, reaching over and gathering her up to sit on his lap. He didn't want to tell her what he was thinking. Uh-oh, I know what he's thinking. Mitzi was very vocal in bed, and he was positive that their nocturnal activities had probably been overheard by everyone in the household at one time or another. Hey, kids learn by watching and listening. But that would have made her feel worse, so he refrained from saying it. Nice. Yeah, what can I say? They're not that big, but the camera makes my guns look really big. They're not really guns, though. All I know is that sex is one of the most mysterious and pleasurable ways to connect with another being, and that my desire for you is just as strong as it ever was, maybe even stronger, and that I can't keep my hands off of you, and that I'm about to take you upstairs and ravish you, with your permission, of course. I promise the only sounds ringing in your ears will be the ones we make together. But wait, where is little Scarlet? Mitzi slid her hand down to Cass's lap, a small smile twitching at the corners of her cupid bow lips. She's gone to toddler dance with Natalie, she told him, and ice cream afterwards. They won't be back for at least an hour. I don't know, I just love talking smack. Cass looked at her wordlessly, his own copper brown eyes staring into her blue-green ones. Her eyes had always mesmerized him, and he was desperate to press his toned, chiseled flesh against her own soft flesh. Then let's not waste time, he told her, his voice low and husky with desire as he picked her up in his arms and flew up the staircase. What's with you lately? Daniel asked Channing as they sat at the bistro outside of the new city coffee shop known as Eclair. You seem preoccupied or something. You're not even drinking your lemonade shake-up. Do you want something else instead? Channing raised her eyes. Oh, that was supposed to be a man's voice. Sorry, guys. Channing raised her eyes to his. Daniel flipped his 2 long, braven black hair away from his eyes. He looked serious and concerned. Serious was nothing new from Daniel. He had always been a vampire of few words, and though he could still be that way with other people, she had always brought out his talkative side. They had been able to communicate on a soul level since their first encounters. They had always connected. Oh, thanks. Love you guys, too. Channing had always been able to soothe Daniel's volatile nature, but she was not a liar, and she would have to tell him sooner or later that she was pregnant and that there was a chance that this baby would be born with wings. Not dragon wings like Liam Noble, but fairy wings. Hey, wings are wings, if you ask me. It wasn't something she would hide even if she could. Her one encounter with Briop still haunted her. She had no explanation for it, and her intuition told her that he might have used his fairy skills and mesmerized her somehow. After all, fairies were known for being tricksy. It used to be a worn-out joke, but it wasn't funny anymore. Even though her sister Kimber knew she was expecting, she wasn't about to tell Daniel yet. She would tell him when he was ready to come clean about all of it, not just tell him she was pregnant and let the chips fall where they may. Okay, I do apologize. It is 5:15 and I gotta go pick up my son. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Mama Fang, I will read from this tomorrow, pick up where I left off, or maybe I'll start over and try to read more of it, so I can get more preview people into the beginning. Or what I could do is just do read from Full Moon Book 1, and then part of this one just kind of get people into the feel of it. We'll see what I can do tomorrow, because I am doing some other live read stuff. Tomorrow I'm doing my first YouTube video, which is going to be just one author, which is just going to be a separate thing, but then I'm going to do a separate live read with Mama Fang and Varden and a few of the others. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. If you are an author, let me remind you, just let me know if you want me to read from your book. Anybody here will tell you I don't ask for anything. I just do it for fun. I don't ask for money. Don't ask for free books. I don't ask for anything. Just your permission to read it. And hopefully when I do read it, you'll like it. That's basically all I do. It is for fun. Anyways, so let me know if you're interested in reading for your book. I may be back on tonight, but I sincerely doubt it. I got homework to do for the kids. My pleasure, Mama Fang. Always love reading your books. You know that. And hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye-bye.